Great to have you with us, coming to you live today from your nation's capital in Washington, D.C. That's the middle of the swamp at our beautiful studios at the embassy. Which embassy are we at? Well, we're at our studio embassy at Corey Lewandowski Embassy. That's right, the embassy in Washington, the place to be at, his galactic Milky Way headquarters where we have our studio. And last night we were at the watch party at the Republican Party of Virginia, having a lot of fun there. Corey Stewart, who was joining us right now, is the U.S. Senate nominee on the Republican side. He'll be facing over Tim Kaine, who you just heard from on our show at the 8 o'clock hour, who said, well, vicious, ruthless, I don't think so. I'm too nice of a guy for that. Joining us now, the victor, Corey Stewart, chairman of Prince William County. Prince William voters, unbelievable, came to the polls yesterday and supported their guy once again in huge numbers, putting him over the top along with Fairfax. Corey Stewart joining us now, Republican nominee for U.S. Senate 2018. Corey, great to have you, man.
Hey, John, we've been through this road together. Great to be on your show.
It's been quite the topsy-turvy road for John Fredericks and Corey Stewart. No question about it. We fight, we make up, we fight, we make up. But it's all good because at the end of the day, Corey, you did a good job. Now, I loved your quote, and I got to say this. I loved your quote in the Washington Post story today, and I just relay this to my audience. I'm not looking at it, so I might paraphrase it a bit. But I love the candor of it when you said that about 8:30 p.m., you were on the razor's edge of political extinction, basically. I thought that was a great quote and so real and so honest because, look, at 8:30, we were looking at these numbers, and it was myself, Saxman, Mike Watson, and Ben Tribbett. And, Corey, we were looking at these numbers, and Freitas did much better than I expected in Southwest Virginia. I mean, I just didn't see that. I thought you would have a lead, and then it would just expand when you got to Nova. But, about 8:30, you had a 6,000 vote lead, and we were looking at this and saying, okay, where's Stewart going to make this up? And, of course, we were all saying, okay, Prince William hasn't come in. He's going to get a big vote there. But you not only got a big majority, you got your people out for you. But then you crushed him in Fairfax. Like, we couldn't believe it. Because last time, Ed beat you on the strength of Fairfax, right? This time, you overcome Freitas' lead and basically crush him in Fairfax. What a turn of events. How do you explain that? And just walk us through your watching this whole thing unfold. Because it was exciting.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that, I have a feeling, and I never thought I would ever say this, but thank you, Fairfax County. And we did very, very well, of course, in my home county, Prince William County. What's happened there in Fairfax County is they've had this spate of crimes committed by illegal aliens. Mm-hmm. MS-13 is out of control, and they're tired of it. And they want a guy who's going to be a nut cutter and is going to go in there using federal law enforcement officials to root out MS-13, root out crimes committed by illegal aliens, and return their community to them. That's why they nominated me last night in such big numbers in Fairfax County and the rest of Northern Virginia for the most part. And that's why we're going to have a big surprise for Tim Kaine come this fall when we do historically well in Fairfax County and the rest of Northern Virginia.
I mean, you look at the margin of your victory in Prince William, and I was pointing this out last night and to my listeners, and as chairman of Prince William County, which has gone blue except basically for yourself and maybe one other, you beat Freitas there 57% to 33%. You beat him by 24 points, but it was one of the bigger turnouts you had in any county in the Republican primary. So not only did your voters that have voted for you over and over, not only did they come out for you in a percentage way, but they came out of big numbers, and that really turned the tide because you had about a 5,000 vote majority there. So you have to feel good that your own people came out for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the voters of Prince William County who know me best. And they know, that, at times they might not, they may not like my style. They may not even like my politics at times, but they know that I'm tough. And they know that, I can get the job done. I cracked down on crime. I made the county number one in economic growth, number 3 in the United States, and they appreciate that, and they are looking for a United States senator, as is the rest of Virginia, who's going to support the president's pro-economic growth policies, his policies of cracking open foreign markets to American-made goods, his policies on the foreign policy front of doing something that no president has done in our lifetimes, and that is to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula for the first time since 1950. You cannot argue with President Trump's success, and even Democrats are going to have a hard time denying that, and that's why they're going to throw Tim Kaine out of the office, because Tim Kaine is doing everything he can do to stop these successes, and that's why we're going to win.
Corey, listen, you're going to be outspent, and it's going to be an enormous number, right? I mean, Kaine's got, $10 million on hand now. He's going to raise another 10 or 15. You know, he'll have $25 million. You'll have a couple million. You're likely to get outspent 10, 12, 15 to 1.
Don't be
how do you
surprised.
compete?
Don't be, John, here's the thing. We had a lot of people, and first I want to say this, and it's an opportunity. Nick Freitas is a gentleman. That guy is a rough campaigner. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He's got a bright future in Virginia politics. He's going to be out there. He's going to be helping out. I'm confident of that. We spoke, we've been conversing a little bit this morning, or last night rather. But we're going to have a united Republican team, and as a result of that, the money, a lot of people don't want to give money to Republicans when we're knocking each other over the head. But now that the nomination is done, you can bet your bottom dollar that conservative donors from across the country, when they realize the president tweeted this morning that this is a competitive race in Virginia, the money's going to start flowing in, not just from conservatives in Virginia, but across the country to knock out Tim Kaine. People hate that guy. He's an absolute disaster for Virginia.
All right, so it's always tough to get money. You're not likely to get any from the RNC because you protested against them. Not likely to get any from Mitch McConnell because he doesn't want anything to do with you. So you're going to have to find it from other sources. But look, money isn't everything. I mean, Trump got outspent. Remember when we won the Virginia primary on Super Tuesday? Marco Rubio, remember that? Marco Rubio spent $2.4 million on TV, and the entire Trump broadcast budget was $50,000. So we got outspent $2.4 million to $50,000. It was all spent with me on my radio show, and we kicked his butt. So money matters, but it isn't everything, right?
That's right. Well, social media is the great equalizer, by the way. People don't need to go to the mainstream media anymore to get information about their candidates and their positions. They can go to social media to get that information directly. Look, the money is going to start flowing in to this campaign, especially as the president noted this morning that it is going to be competitive. We're going to have, a lot of resources, and all we got to do at the end of the day is we've got the truth. We got the truth of the fact, and the truth is this. And you should ask this question. If you didn't, to Tim Kaine, I'd be disappointed in you, John. But the question, you got to ask him this question: what have you done, Tim? What have you done for Virginia or Virginians over the past 6 years, other than to run for vice president? And he didn't even do a good job at that. That's the question. He's done nothing. And even if you're a Democrat, you've got to admit that. And it's time to get somebody in there who will support the president and his economic growth policies and is rebuilding the military. And by the way, a lot of those jobs should come down to the shipyard in Newport News. And that's the thing. I'm going to be running on the president's agenda and the president's policies, which have been successful.
We're with Corey Stewart. He is now the new nominee for U.S. Senate on the Republican side in Virginia. He will go up against Tim Kaine on November 8th in 2018. Kaine goes into this as a heavy favorite, got a lot of money, but Corey Stewart, the fighter. Corey, as of last night, I've not talked to their campaign. As of last night, Nick Freitas had not formally or publicly gave you his endorsement. You said you talked to him today. Is that forthcoming?
No, actually, I take that back. We exchanged messages last evening, but look, we're going to be those conversations are going to be happening. I'm confident that Nick has got a bright future, and I'm confident that we're going to be working together.
Have you reached out to E.W. Jackson?
Same thing there. We exchanged some messages. Look, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen today. We got major, media appearances. We're going to try to, have those conversations as early as possible.
what always happens to every Republican, and I've been covering this now for a long time, and you've been with me on many of them, is whatever the race is, you get, and it happened again last evening, you get to 9 o'clock, and everything changes when Fairfax comes in. And if you look at the Trump campaign, Corey, in 2016, we lost Fairfax, Arlington, and Alexandria by combined 145,000, right? You simply can't make that up in Buchanan, Virginia. You can't make it up. We talked about this a little bit, but how do you visualize cutting into that margin?
Well, you saw the level of support that I have in Prince William County last night.
Yeah.
That's not going to disappear between now and November. In fact, it's going to grow. And so I've already got a ready-made base. In order to win Virginia, you've got to offset your losses in Arlington, Alexandria, and Fairfax by winning Prince William County and Loudoun. And by the way, we're going to do very, very well in Fairfax. I think you saw that last night. People are sick and tired and fed up with the sanctuary city stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in Fairfax, just to give our listeners here that didn't tune in to everything last night, Fairfax County, Corey Stewart, 50%, Nick Freitas, 36%, E.W. Jackson, 13.5%. So, I mean, a great victory for you in Fairfax. And also, you carried your own county big. That puts you over the top. Let's get to the president's trade policies. A lot of traditional Republicans whining about it. They want open borders, open trade, cheap labor, cheap goods, so Wall Street and Goldman Sachs can continue to get $1 million quarterly bonuses or whatever they do. If you're elected to the Senate, are you going to support the president on his trade and tariff policies, Corey, yes or no?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. As you know, John, this is my background. I'm an international trade attorney.
Right.
And here's the thing. We don't have free trade in this country or globally right now. What we have is a one-way system where goods flow in freely into the United States, but when you want to export U.S.-made goods to China and the EU, they tax the hell out of them. And as a result, they manipulate the currencies. They make it very difficult for U.S. exporters. That's why the industrial base and the manufacturing base in this country has diminished. You just go down to, you don't have to go very far. Go down to, go down to the southern part of Virginia, where Martinsville was one of the wealthiest communities in the United States until it was absolutely emptied out. And the reason was his unfair trade coming in from China. It's empty out of America's manufacturing base. The president is right to put down the hammer and force the Chinese and other trading partners to open up their markets to American-made goods. Otherwise, they're going to be facing very stiff tariffs, which the president has shown he's willing to put down. And he's a very good negotiator. He's very, very tough. I will be supporting him 100%. When I'm in the Senate, I want to be in the Finance Committee, especially International Trade, Customs, and Global Competitiveness Subcommittee. That's where I'm going to be able to do the most good and open those markets so we get back manufacturing into Virginia.
Corey, you said nominate me, and you're going to see a very ruthless, vicious campaign against Tim Kaine. What do you mean by that? Now that you are the nominee,
I'm going to attack him daily for his lack of support for the president of the United States and his far left wing. Look, Tim Kaine, he may seem like a nice guy. This is no Mark Warner. This is no middle of the road Democrat. This is a far left-wing ideologue who is vindictive and is bound and determined to undermine the President of the United States, even at the cost of undermining Virginia. That's the thing. That's what we're going to point out, that this guy does not have Tim Kaine does not have Virginia in mind. Tim Kaine does not have Virginians' interests in mind. Tim Kaine has one thing in mind and one thing only, and that's undermining the President of the United States. He opposes him even when the president is successful. At lowering unemployment to the lowest level since the early 1970s, at economic growth, at bringing back manufacturing jobs, at bringing peace to the Korean Peninsula for the first time since 1950. And all Tim Kaine does is criticize the president and undermine him. And that's what I mean by a ruthless campaign, ruthlessly pursuing the truth and destroying Tim Kaine because he's trying to undermine Virginia.
Corey, do you totally disavow the white nationalist and
of course I do.
The other types
John,
of people
I've answered that question a million times. Of course we do. Of course we do. Now, the thing is, ask this question to Tim Kaine. Does he disavow Antifa, which is a domestic terrorist organization, of which his son is a member? Tim Kaine's son is a member of Antifa who attacked people who were waiting in line to go to a Trump rally. And, does he disavow that organization? No. The left never disavows the radical left wing, the violent left in this country. The Democrats never disavow them. You know why? Because it is that violent left wing, radical left wing, that's actually controlling the Democratic Party today.
All right, and just the final thing to clear it up so we can get it out of the way, this whole flap here with Paul Nealon that ran against Ryan in Wisconsin, I thought the attacks on you were unfair because when you were supporting him, none of this had really come out, and then once it did, you backed away. Can you just clarify that? Because I think the attacks on you vis-a-vis Paul Nealon were really not true. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, John, because here's the thing. When Paul Nealon was running against Paul Ryan, a lot of conservatives came out and said great things about Nealon. And not
That's
just
right.
me, but President Trump said nice things. Ann Coulter did.
That's
Sarah
right.
Palin, a whole host. And the late Phyllis Schlafly said nice things about Paul Nealon. And it was only afterward that Nealon came out as a nutcase and started saying all sorts of terrible anti-Semitic and racist things. And at that point, of course, all of us disavowed him. I don't know what happened to him. I hope he seeks some medical attention because there's something wrong with him. He just suddenly flipped and became a nut.
Well, okay, I appreciate that. And I really thought those attacks on you were unfair because many people did say nice things about him. Some actually backed him in that race over Paul Ryan back in 2016. I did not, by the way. I did not. I got out of that thing as soon as I got to understand what was going on. But look, that was unfair. You're going to get other unfair attacks, but I think we can look forward to a very good campaign, and we're going to be able to flush.
There will be these attacks because you know what, John? That's all the Democrats have. All they have is to throw down the race card and accuse everybody of racism, accuse everybody who supports the president as being a racist and supports keeping our monuments and supports, cracking down on illegal immigration. They're going to accuse us of racism because that's all they have, because they know that if they debate us on the issues of the booming economy under this president, of which I will support, they're going to lose. That's why they're throwing up a race card.
All right, we're out of time. Want to thank Corey Stewart for being with us. Corey, thank you. We look forward to having you on a very frequent basis so we can debate the issues and flesh everything out. Thanks for being with us. CoreyStewart.com, pretty easy to do, CoreyStewart.com, running for U.S. Senate against Tim Kaine. That'll be decided November 8th. This might be a little bit more competitive than the Washington Post is going to tell you.